How are we doing? Chris here with a new unboxing today, and it's the Chuwi HiBook. So it's a tablet that is very similar to the Chuwi HiBook 10 Ultimate and also the TechLast T-Book 10. It's another two-in-one, and it's powered yet again by the Atom X5Z 8300 and 4 GB of RAM. I ordered the keyboard and the tablet itself, so I'll be unboxing both of them on this video here. So first start out with the tablet. Alright, so here we can see a tablet that does look very similar in terms of build quality to the Chuwi HiBook 10 Ultimate. You can see here we do have two slots there for the keyboard dock, which I'll get onto shortly, and then the 5 pogo pin port there. And on the left hand side we have a speaker grill. You can see there are 2 Torx screws there securing that in place. On the top we have a volume up and down buttons, power on, and the 2 megapixel rear camera there. And on the left hand side, the 3.5mm headphone jack, micro HDMI out, microphone, USB 2 for charging, and there is a USB 3 type C port. Now I will be testing out this port just to make sure that I can at least run things like external hard drives or flash drives from that. And lastly there is the speaker and micro SD card slot. So I'm just going to put the tablet aside for a second. The build quality, just to comment on that, it does feel good, very solid there. I can't feel any real flicks or creaks or anything with that. And of course too, up the front there is a 2 megapixel camera. And in the little pouch here, sorry, the little box on the side, we'll find the standard Chuwi charger, which is rated to 3 amps and 5 volts. Actually, I think that has changed from the standard 2.5 amps. So that's good to see they have actually increased that, because sometimes the chargers do struggle a little bit. And here we have a USB 3 type C cable. So I was wrong there. It's going to be charging via the USB type C port and not the USB 2 port. What else is in here is just the usual, so this is going to be our instruction leaflets and whatnot. Now all of that is actually in Chinese there, so not really any very relevant to anyone who doesn't understand Chinese like myself there. So I'll put that back in the box. And check out the weight of the tablet. So the tablet is 572 grams there. Alright, I'm just going to power the tablet on. Hopefully there's some power left in there. Sometimes these do ship and turn on. Okay, there is Chuwi logos coming on there. And we'll have a look at the keyboard in just a second. Just get the protective cover off. So there we have the familiar dual boot menu from Chuwi. We can select either Android or Windows. While that is powering up Windows, just take a look now at the keyboard dock. Now, as far as I can tell from the images, this keyboard dock is in fact the same as the Chuwi HiBook 10 Ultimate one. Looks to have the same ODM that builds these. And I was really happy with the keyboard on the Cube. And I can see that, yes, it is exactly the same, it's just in silver, so slightly different paint job. And I will compare both of them in just a second. This is a keyboard that I already know and have used, and I'm very happy with it. So we can see we do have a reasonably large trackpad, considering the size of this, because this is a 10.1 inch tablet. We still get good amount of space here. You can disable the trackpad there. There is a button, so with function F11 there will disable that trackpad, and of course it can be slotted in the tablet either way around, so you can use it in a presentation mode or even a tent kind of setup, tent mode if you wanted to, similar to that of the yoga books. and there is literally hardly any flex. There's a tiny little bit with this keyboard, and good key travel, good key size. Overall, I've been very happy with this, and I do like the fact that they have included these rubber feet here just off the keyboard, so it's making sure that really it's not actually able to touch the screen, it's not able to touch the keyboard and get all scratched up, at least the screen protector on it, and the build quality of it is excellent. So we've got the 4 rubber feet on the back and a rubber finish to it, so it's a rubber paint job, and it gives it a bit of texture and grip, and it is an extremely solid feeling keyboard here and very premium. I would compare this to the likes of the Asus Transformer Book series. They are really that good. So we do have 2 USB 2 ports on either side there of the keyboard, and if we have a look and quickly show you how that docks in, is simply just slots in place like so, and there we go. But that's the maximum angle you can get, by the way, on the screen. There is a counterweight within the keyboard, and it's not going to tip back just pressing it like this. And overall, it's a good setup. I believe it's one of the better ones, definitely with the 2-in-1s. I do like it. So if I get now, just out of interest, I wanted to see what it looks like next to the cube that I have here. You'll see that they are in fact very, very similar. The keyboards are the same, with a slight change actually. I've just noticed there's a difference on the position of the LEDs. If you have a look here, status LEDs for the keyboard are in different locations there, but otherwise identical really in the terms of build there. They are both using metal, and very nice keyboards. So moving back to the Chuwi HiBook, we can see we have a icon here which runs a simple application which will reboot over into Android for us. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to have a look and see how much free space there is and what they are using for the wireless chipset. So Windows, we have a rather large 32.5 gigabytes free, which is quite large considering this is a dual boot machine. So they've given most of that space, I can see already, to Windows and not Android. So I just move over to System and check out and see if Windows is activated. Not yet. I think I need to connect up to the internet for that. And have a quick look at Device Manager. And have a look at the brand of eMMC they're using is a Hynix, which is good to see. That's normally a reasonably fast drive, and the network adapter is a Realtek, surprise, surprise. That's the 150 megabits per second, wireless in, 2.4 gigahertz only. Now, if I have a closer look at the screen, I have noticed that there is a reasonably large gap. It seems to be stuck in there quite solidly. A reasonably large gap between the glass digitizer panel on the top and the IPS 1920 by 1200 screen below. If you can have a look there and see, I don't know if I can get the camera to focus there, you see that that gap, I would say, is a good 2 millimeters at least, perhaps even more, 2.5. That seems to be slightly larger of what's present on the Cube. The Cube iWork 10 Ultimate, I think, has a gap of only about 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter. It's quite small. That's not too bad. I don't think this one is that much of a distraction, but it's definitely noticeable, and I picked up on that straight away there. So I'm going to quickly boot over into Android, have a look at the ROM, and have a look and see how much free space we have. So I'm just going to run the application now. Sure, I want to switch to Android, yes. So that's going to restart now and boot into Android. Alright, so the RAM is just ROM is just booting up. So the ROM is just powering up now. It's the first time I have started this, and I just noticed it's just started up, and there we go, the screen has swapped around. Started up in portrait there, but now it's in landscape. So it looks like a very stock Android ROM, which is good to see. I've noticed that the DPI, I don't know whether that's a good match for the screen or not. Actually, it doesn't seem that bad there. Seems to be a good match. The ROM's DPI set there. So we do have Play Store installed, and have a look under settings at the free available storage we have. So we've got 9.4 gigabytes free there, and there doesn't look to be any bloatware whatsoever. There isn't. There is literally nothing there, which is good to see. I love to see ROMs like this. There's no need for them to install all of their bloatware applications. And more manufacturers now, at least from China, are starting to just install plain Android ROMs, which is really good to see. So I think the message is finally getting through that, at least for international markets, that we don't need to see the ROMs that are just all completely covered in Chinese apps. Okay, so that is just a very quick unboxing there and hands-on with the Chuwi HiBook. Now I will be back with further videos on this one. I will do some tests, run my normal benchmarks, check out and see how those speakers sound, and the USB Type-C port too, to see if that's going to power an external hard drive. So do stay tuned to the playlist if you are interested in seeing that, and hopefully see you back in the channel soon. Bye for now.